Hi, welcome back to my channel. I hope you'll stick around today while I paint this yellow rose bouquet. Today I'm using my size 3 and 6 Intuition round brushes. I'm using my SeimiArt and Sonnet watercolors. I have my watercolor palette handy, 2 jars of water, one for rinsing my dirty brushes and one for actual painting, and I have a clean cloth for dabbing any mistakes or puddles. I'm also using my 350 GSM watercolor paper from Dollar Tree. Let's get started. Okay, I'm starting today with my indigo. And I'm going to put in just a partial outline for this jar. I want to go in kind of quickly and start spreading that just like that, just a bit. And then I want to go up into this for the shadow. And I'll probably just add some more in here. A little fiber in my brush. I love that. Pull this a little more. Okay, and I do like it when some of the shadow comes from the side, because I feel like that gives a nice backlit look. I'm just gonna pull that. Maybe give this right here just a little blending. Okay, love that. Want to start in with my flowers, so I'm going to start with clean water. And I'm really loving the yellow, so I'll be using this yellow deep. My goal is to keep these real loose. So lots of water and just kind of not even caring about definition. Just keeping that so loose, so loose. Okay, and I want to come in here with some clean water and just go ahead and get these a little bit, just a little bit messy. So I'm rinsing in one of my jars, but then I'm making sure to go back in to my clean water and just grab some of that so I can just kind of soften these up a little. And I think honestly they were pretty soft, but and now I'm just going in around these with some extra water. And here's where I use my light source so that I can really see where I have a good amount of water, because it can be kind of hard to tell straight on. I'm going to take my olive green and just kind of dot that, squiggle that in there. This is just creating some fill. I'm not really, you know, trying for anything that looks, you know, like any particular botanical features or anything like that. It's just kind of some visual interest. And I want to go ahead and get some more of that and go ahead and pull down some stems. And then let's get some stems going in here. I've talked about my personal approach on stems in these bouquets is that not everything has to have a stem. It's really okay if it doesn't, maybe even preferable. It's kind of up to you. And I think sometimes, you know, I do more, it's a little more realistic, possibly a little less abstract. And then sometimes I really just throw caution and rules to the wind. And that's really one of the cool things about art is you get to do that and you get to choose. Sometimes if I have a lot of pigment left on my brush, I will try to drag it off onto or in my palette. So I'm not wasting that, just putting it in my water. It's just a little way to conserve supplies there, I guess. I love it. Let's take some of this dark brown, because I did this accidentally before and then I loved it so much. And let's use it for some of these stems. I just love the depth it gives. It's just such a nice, it's so nice in there. It really does add this amazing depth. Okay. Let's see if I can kind of drag some of that off. Okay, I want to add a little more water inside my vase here because I see that this has all gone a bit dry, and I'd like for these things to, I just like for them to be looser and bleed a little bit, I guess. And maybe a little bit up here where these darks are just so dark. Just kind of soften that all up. And then you can always come back and add a little more definition if you need to. Okay, I'm going to take a bit of my Payne's Gray. And I think before I do that, actually I want to go ahead and, using my clean water, I want to go ahead and just kind of add some water into this background here. And it's okay for it to touch the arrangement there. And I want to take that Payne's Gray and just start dropping some in on the side here, just in the arrangement and kind of in the side. And then I'm going to go ahead and blend that a little bit. Just wanted a little bit of depth there. And the Payne's Gray is nice because it has that kind of blue, and I thought it would look kind of nice as somewhat of a background color. I don't love how defined this area is right here, so I'm just going to take a bit more water and kind of squiggle that out. And then just dab that. Just had a little more than I wanted. I'm going to go in with my indigo and touch around there. Maybe a little too much, but that's okay. We'll see. I want to go ahead, I want some of that indigo in my arrangement here, especially kind of underneath the flowers in some of the leaves. So I just added a little bit of water there so I could do that. Oh yeah, I like this. All right. Okay, sometimes the indigo, I feel, does better if I do not soften it on my palette. So that's what I did here. I just went directly with my brush, and you know, I've kind of pre-wet and pre-softened some areas, so I like that. I think that's doing really well. I kind of want somewhat of a line for some, you know, table or surface definition right there. Just a hint. Maybe just a tiny bit more here. And then I want to go and soften all that. This was already wet here, so it's kind of bleeding upward. That's fine. And then maybe a little indigo in this. Just, let's see. Let's just see what happens with that. Okay, I like it. Want to take a little bit of background here. I'm not worried about touching in these florals. I'm a little conservative around the yellow. And I'll do about half of this. And I'm just taking kind of randomly this Payne's gray, just touches of it. And I kind of like these bits that were a little darker here. I don't want to mess with those too much. I like it. And then alternately some of the indigo. Now just a light wash of it. Oh, so worried about that. Okay, like it. And then I'm going to blend and do the same thing over to the right. But starting at the top here, I can kind of blend that, get it ready. And I will probably start with the indigo over here, just because I want to blend that top area first. And I don't want that little overlap to have too much pigment. And then a little bit of the Payne's gray. Sorry about that. Sometimes creating and talking can be kind of difficult for me. Okay, just kind of blend that out a bit. Okay, I like it. And I don't love this where it bled upward, actually, so I'm just going to see if I can wet that and then absorb that extra pigment. Just see. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and I'm certainly not going to get bent out of shape with it. But if I can soften it, excuse my voice, getting all relaxed there and letting it just get croaky. Yeah, not too bad. I think maybe just a little more Payne's gray. And then when it dries, maybe I can do something else with that. I kind of want to get rid of that line altogether. It's not my norm to have that kind of like a surface thing, and I'm just not sure I love it. So maybe we just kind of scrub at it and kind of get rid of it. How about that? Let's do a little more down here. Okay. I want to give the bottom of this picture a little more definition. I'm using my indigo for this. A pretty good concentration of it. Oh, I like that. And then how about I take this up and then kind of soften that, let it bleed to the side. That's what I think I want to do right there. Okay, I'm going to take a little more of that. All right, let's see what we have. I'm gonna put some water in this and let it kind of bleed into that. Yeah, I like it. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with this water, just taking some water right here into this indigo pigment and just letting it go. And I don't want to lose any more definition of the bottom of the jar, so I'm trying to be a little cautious about that. Okay, I like it. Want to go in with some greens. This is my olive green. And just kind of going with what's here and trying not to overlap per se, because I have things that are there that I like that seem to be kind of, you know, background, and I like that. I don't want to completely eradicate that. So just making these leaves. And you know, those little viney type things. I think this could be cute with some kind of just dotty, you know, like a cluster of those dotty kind of leaves. Maybe that is just something I made up in my imagination, but almost like a hydrangea, but leaves. Back there too. Maybe one more right up here. Kind of like to work in odd numbers when I have something that's, you know, visually interesting. like that. You know, you don't want an overwhelming number of those things necessarily, but you don't always necessarily just want one. So that's my solution. Now I'm going with some olive that I've previously mixed with some brown. It was just left on my palette from a previous painting, and just making some of these little leafy things I like to make, these multiple leaved leaves. Stems, how about that? How about multi-leaved stems? This is why I need an assistant while I'm painting and recording. So someone can give me words. My words are not always there. Who's with me on that? Okay, lots of these. Just making sure to overlap those. I want to overlap this background just a little too, so just that blue. I don't want everything to just end at the blue. Okay, I like it. I like that really well. I want to go back in my olive green and just put in a few more leaves and some details. Let's see. This is kind of a mess right there, but we made it work. There we go. Okay, I like these. Yeah, really cute. I'm liking it on the whole. It's it ain't too bad. I think I'd like a little more just a little softening on some things, and so I'm gonna go just touch some things with water. Maybe some of these. Kind of wish I had done that when they were a little more wet, but I think this is still going to be fine. Okay, just kind of soften that up a bit. Maybe soften that indigo that I put in there. I think I will. I think I'm going to try to take out a little bit of this brown here. It kind of went crazy. The area was a little more wet than I expected. So just wet that and dabbed it Let's see, what else? And maybe some of that went up into the flower. Okay, and then I think I can just put a leaf there when it has dried some, maybe. All right, let's get some more olive. Okay. And then I think I'd like something else here. I think that works. Yeah. Okay. Now let's put a little more detail into these roses. Not a ton. Not a ton. Not going to overwork these. Just, and I am still using my size 6, which I think is fine. Gosh, I love it. It's really going well. And one thing I like to remind myself is that not every flower has to make absolute sense. It really doesn't, especially when you're kind of working loose and abstract. The mind will kind of fill in some of those things, and I have found that for me, I will work something and overwork it, and I can watch it back on a replay or, you know, reel or whatever, and I'll think, oh gosh, that was the point, and I just missed it. You know, I missed the finish line sometimes. And so kind of a lesson in that for me is you can always come back to do more, but you can't always go back and do less. Sometimes you can erase things away, but not always. And so for me, the lesson is, you know, just sometimes it's better to stop and kind of look, maybe even just for a couple of days possibly, you know, then come back to it with fresh eyes and see what I think then. And sometimes that's really effective for me. Usually in that case, and this is really true, I usually do not end up adding anything, because it turns out I really was happy with it, and I really am okay with it. So it's just something to think about. There are choices. Yeah, so Okay, I just feel like this needs a few more things. And I actually have already added a little leaf here, like I mentioned I was going to do before. I did a little bit of softening of that indigo, and then I went in and just brushed a few strokes of the Payne's Gray, just where I had some white areas in the arrangement, and I thought that they could use a little bit of, I guess, depth, a little shadow. So, so now I'm seeing some areas just right here in the center. I feel like maybe we need some leaves, stems, something. Maybe maybe a leaf right here, using my olive for this. Kind of go over this one, so I'm kind of balancing my green here because it's so dark. Okay, I like that. Maybe a leaf right here. Just kind of coming over this jar. Yeah, I like it. And then let's soften maybe the green. And I'm just looking for any areas that look like maybe they just need a little, you know, little leaf or even a big leaf just in the shadows, kind of in the background. So, you know, something real soft, and this could maybe use a big, yeah, I like it. Nice. And I love the asymmetry of it. So I just want to add a little more of the green in my stems going into the jar. Gosh, I love this. Okay. And I think now I might call that finished. I'm pretty happy with it, and I hope that you had a good time watching this today. I would love to know if you painted it along with me, or if you might save it and paint it later. As always, happy painting!